The Appalachian Mountains remain an enigma even today, not just because of the trails in the wilderness, but also the myths and horrors that engulf the land, and the stories of hikers who recall seeing and hearing things beyond logic or reason. This is one such tale about a hiker and a skull bone, and a curse as old as time itself. Into my second month of the Appalachian Trail, my tired arms and legs were starting to rebel. Despite the sensible course of action being to turn back, a stubborn part of my brain told me to keep on going. And in a way, I am glad I did, because it led to the most unforgettable experience of my life. The experience I am referring to began on a rather warm day. I was around 30 kilometers away from the Smoky Mountains and hoped to reach there by nightfall so I could set up shelter for the night. Having walked for another hour, the sun hung low in the sky when I spotted a rather old lady walking towards me with slow, measured steps. She asked me if I was going towards the mountains, and I said that was indeed the case. Very suddenly, she reached out and touched my wrist with a bony finger, as she said in almost a whisper,
"Be careful, boy, those mountains are home to many ancient secrets. They do not take kindly to outsiders. Respect their beliefs and traditions, even if it may seem foolish to you."
As suddenly as she had appeared, she walked away. Twilight comes quickly in this area of the Smoky Mountains. Very soon, my eyes could see barely anything, but the trail in this part was relatively straight, so as long as I kept one foot in front of the other, I would be okay. As my feet kicked something in the darkness, I heard what sounded like the laughter of a woman. I thought I had kicked a simple rock, but as I bent down to see what it was, I screamed. A skull bone stared back at me, glinting in the darkness. As I touched it, my fingers felt wet. Blood, fresh blood, dripped from the bone onto the road. I turned on my flashlight for a second and made out a name. Ellen Keffler, 1897 to 1946. I walked a bit quicker after that, the mountain air whispering in my ears. Eventually, it became pitch black, and using my limited battery flashlight, I set up a small tent, hoping to catch a few hours of sleep before resuming my trail the following morning. As soon as I went inside the tent, I heard the sound of a woman laughing. It might have been my imagination playing tricks, but I had the feeling it was the same laughter from when I had kicked the skull from a couple of hours back. After sitting quietly for a couple of minutes, my curiosity got the better of me. I crept out of the tent to see a woman standing a few yards away from me. I could only see her from the back, but I did not get the impression that she was smiling. "Do you need help?" In the deathly silence of the mountain, even the sound of my own voice gave me a scare. She didn't speak, but threw a small stick backwards. "Follow me," it said in a very scribbled handwriting. Eventually she stopped and picked up what seemed to be another skull bone. Then she turned towards me, but I still couldn't see her face because it was covered with a veil.
"Let me tell you a quick story." Her voice was very soft and whispery. "When you kicked the bone earlier, you awakened a curse. A curse so ancient that it was laid out on these mountains before your people could walk this earth. From this moment onwards, your blood carries this curse. There is only one way to undo it."
I stared expectantly at her. With her veil still on, she continued,
"This bone I hold in my hand is the twin of the one you kicked earlier. Undoing the curse requires a sacrifice. We must keep a token of your presence on these lands forever, till the end of time. Do you understand what I am saying?"
She handed me a small blade and mimicked a cutting motion. I walked up to the bone and, closing my eyes, cut a tiny portion of the skin on my left thumb. As the blood touched the bone, I heard the screams. First the screams, then an invisible hand wrote, "These are the innocents, the pure ones. Their blood stains the very grounds they used to once call home." Then came the sound of a little girl crying, her wails filling up my ears as the blood continued to drip and cover the bone. My head was spinning, and I could no longer tell if this was a dream or reality. When the screaming finally stopped, I said in a shaken whisper, Who are you? She finally took off her veil, and my heart started to beat violently fast. It could not be. Surely not? How is this possible? The lady from the afternoon?
My name, dear stranger, is Ellen. Ellen Keffler.